It's amazing how many of us live life with our thoughts fixed firmly in the past or in the future, but pay very little attention to the present. This episode aims at educating and enlightening people on how to take each day as it comes. We need to stop letting the days pass by and rather start valuing every single day for the gift it really is. At the end of the day, all we truly have is this present moment right now. The past cannot be changed as much as we might try to. The future is completely intangible and can only be shaped by the things we do every day and the decisions we make in the present. Essentially, the only thing you have any influence over is today. So logically, the present is the only thing you should spend your time on. With that said, let us find out from Jimmy Jatt, an icon in the music industry who I met in Nigeria, the importance of taking one day at a time. And when we come back, we tackle alternative truths from the one who always tells me that if anyone should speak, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. This is my best friend and I. I've gotten to a point where I'm like, listen, I'm going to take life one day at a time. I'm not even going to bother or worry about tomorrow. At what age did you get to that point where you said, listen, I'm going to take it one day at a time?
To be honest with you, quite early in life. I wouldn't say a particular age, but quite early in life because I saw a lot of stuff. I've seen people, I lost a friend when I was a teenager. And I knew that the guy died because he was worrying about some forthcoming thing. He was chasing money to meet up with something that he needed to do in a very near future at the time. And then he had an accident in the process. Wow. And I was the first person they called to identify his call.
Wow.
So since then, and then I went to the morgue, so, I'm like, I know why this guy, I know what caused this death. It was in a desperate speed to meet up with certain things, just, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
And then, whether I met up with it, whether I didn't, it's not around anymore. So I'm like, what's the point, At that point, I almost felt like there's no need even chasing anything. But, after a while, you get back to it and say, okay, chase for the immediate, But I think one thing you need to realize is that you're not in control of your own life.
Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Be wise enough to restrain yourself. Proverbs 23, the 4th verse. An inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. Proverbs 20, the 21st verse. And which of you by worrying can add even 1 hour to his life? Matthew chapter 6, the 27th verse. Words of wisdom from the icon Jimmy Jatt and alternative truths from my best friend. Welcome back. How does life control us? And how do we control life instead of life controlling us? To what extent do we control our life? And how much of it is left to faith? Do we actually have control over our life? If we cannot control our life, who or what does? Well, let's find out from Jimmy Jatt, who controls his life. And when we return, we shall go for alternative truth from my best friend and more right here on My Best Friend and I. This is My Best Friend and I. Who is in control of your life?
God.
How often do you communicate with him?
Always, every second, every minute. And I think, I don't go to church, so
All right.
but I'm very spiritual. My mind,
I love that.
and
Uh,
but I just I think first thing you need to realize is who's in control of your life. Appreciate that person,
mm,
give that person, you know, honor every time.
mhm.
And that for me is what I do. So and I think it's just always nice to me because I appreciate that. So yeah.
The Lord controls the mind of a king as easily as he directs the course of a stream. Proverbs 21, the first verse. I know, O Lord, that the way of a man is not in himself, that it is not in man who walks to direct his steps. Jeremiah 10, the 23rd verse. But whoever denies me before men, I also will deny before my Father who is in heaven. Matthew chapter 10, the 33rd verse. Incredible alternative truths from my best friend, right here on My Best Friend and I. Everywhere in the world, people profess the name of God in one way or the other. But when it comes to our actions or deeds, do we reflect the image and likeness of God? With that said, let us find out from Jimmy Jat his perception of who God is. And when we come back, alternative truths from our best friend. Stay tuned.
Do you think the generation that we're in are beginning to find a different perception of who God is? Because there's a lot of wisdom and there's a lot of knowledge, and there is so much to learn about in the world we live in today. And when you go about it, people are like, there's no God, there's no this, there's no that.
I mean, there have been different conversations. Sometimes you want to tend to believe certain things. You want to be, but mine is, I've always believed that there is someone behind this whole process of life itself. There is a power behind that. Whether it's a being, whether it's a spirit, whether there's some body. I don't mean body like somebody like us.
There's
Someone's behind that, and that can only be referred to as God, and that's what I believe. So whether it's the way this religion says that's God or this way, but everybody acknowledges that there is a God.
A British fool tells himself, there isn't any God. Such people are depraved. All their days are vile. Not one of them does what is good. Psalm 53, the first verse. The Lord looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. Psalm 14, the second verse. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Apart from me, there is no God. I will strengthen you, though you have not acknowledged me, so that all may know from the rising of the sun to its setting that there is none but me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Isaiah 45, the 5th to the 6th verse. Through my journey in life, I've seen and heard people from all walks of life define life in so many ways. Some say life is how you make it. Yeah, a very famous saying from my father. May so rest in peace. Some also believe that life is a game, and to some, life is a race. You know yourselves. On that note, viewers, I ask, what is life at all to you? Let's find out more from Jimmy Jat, and when we come back, we will look at the alternative truth from my best friend. This is My Best Friend and I.
What is life at all? What is life? Have you had that moment?
Well, definitely, severally.
And if you had that moment, Have you come to a definition of what life is?
I would not admit that I've come to a definition because I mean, life happens every day. It changes. You might not realize it, but it is not like structured. Like, oh, this is what's going to happen the next day. You don't even have an idea what's going to happen in the next hour.
Oh, even the hours I heard about it. I
I
didn't
mean,
even have an idea.
the most idea you were going to so place, but are you even guaranteed that you're going to get there?
So what will be your
Are
definition?
you even guaranteed that when you get there, what you think would happen there would happen?
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know, and I'm
deep.
just talking the next hour, the next minute, the next, I'm not even saying the next day. I'm not saying the next year. Life is life. I mean, I don't think I want to try to define it. I think it's a
You're
state.
so real.
I think really, the simplest way to describe it is that is life in itself is a stage, and you are just there to play a role. You play your role. You're gonna move up the stage. Some other people are gonna come on the stage at different times for different reasons.
For whoever desires to love life and see good days, let him keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. 1 Peter chapter 3, the 10th verse. You do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while, then vanishes. James chapter 4, the 14th verse. A man's life does not consist of the abundance of things he has. Luke 12, the 15th verse.
Now, to everybody watching, I want you to answer this question from a sincere heart. Are you the type who loves to dominate, oppress, and lord over your fellow human being?
God created man so that we can have dominion over the things that he's given us.
Mhm.
But it looks like men are having dominion over men,
Yeah,
oppressing
exactly,
men.
exactly.
How do you feel about that? And with regards to that, how do you see the leadership of our African leaders today?
I think most times I feel like we blame leadership every time, but of course we don't have a choice because truth people are influenced by what they see. So what do our leaders do? They oppress the people. So people strive to be like the leaders. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
you want to get that power, you want to get that money, just so you can oppress the people that maybe not up to your level. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get it.
Because
I
the
get it.
leaders are not, most leaders in Africa are not trying to, be,
We serve the people.
they're not there to serve people. That's not, I don't even believe that because, why, if you're there to serve people, why would you celebrate or win at an election? Service, you understand what I'm saying? But here, once somebody wins the election, they throw the biggest party. That's because they know they're getting there for something else.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So pretty much, I think most people are influenced or by the actions of the leaders around or supposed role models. You understand what I'm saying? And what are these people doing? Oppressing the people.
There you have it. Let's go find out more alternative truths from my best friend. And when we return, more right here on My Best Friend and I.
Those who are sick, you have not strengthened. The diseased, you have not healed. The broken, you have not bound up. The scattered, you have not brought back. Nor have you sought for the lost. But with severity, you have dominated them. Ezekiel chapter 34, the 4th verse. Don't be surprised if you see a poor person being oppressed by the powerful, and if justice is being miscarried through the land. For every official is under orders from higher up, and matters of justice get lost in red tape and bureaucracy. Ecclesiastes 5, the 8th verse. Be shepherds of God's flock that is under your care, watching over them, not because you must, but because you are willing, as God wants you to be, not pursuing dishonest gain, but eager to serve. 1 Peter chapter 5, the 2nd verse.
My good folks, that was Alternative Truths from our best friend. One of the greatest gifts in life is the ability to choose. Life sets before us two ways, good or bad. And we are always given the freedom to choose which we will follow. Remember, my cherished brethren, when you are given the capacity to choose, you also have the ability to change. Till next time, right here on My Best Friend and I, it's been me, to Rise, and Lord Raz. Have a good one.
Yeah, they do me bad, they do me evil. I do them love, I do them civil. They be talking fatal, like Hussein, I'm lethal. In the heat of death, homies, I come brutal. So involved with life, I can't afford to waste it. If it means paying, I'm gon' pay to get it. I hope you G's get it, don't let me regret it. For my fist is sweating, which means you gon' regret it. Jealousy's for women, but man is taking over. Thugs, hustle, legs, gangsters, the best ever. All do the chicken, when your ghost is reaching, and your collar's turning rainbow, boxes shining. You can see what's faking, I see I'm taking. Your soul's close, when I press for toast. But I'm blessed and smart, that's why I lay 'em flat. Like the mob, that's why I lay 'em flat.
Shea bottom, baby to turn you